Having the right people in your corner for life's biggest milestones makes all the difference. Like a friend who's there when you're house hunting or checking out a new ride, State Farm is there too, helping you choose the coverage you need. With a State Farm agent, you know someone is there to help you along the way. And with so many coverage options, it's nice knowing you have help choosing a plan that fits your needs, so you can continue celebrating all of life's milestones. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Thanks for checking in. We're live in Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Busy hour coming up in 15 minutes. We'll go over some power ratings in the National Football League. Bottom of the hour, Chris Macero in studio, give out some football futures at that time. And here we talk, we'll get an NFL future, a win total, and UFC best bets as that sports in Nashville this weekend. As a longtime friend of the show, Lou Finocchiaro joins us now on the Progressive Guest Line. Good afternoon, Uncle Lou. How are you today?
Doing great, guys. Thanks so much for the UFC time on a Friday. Love it.
You bet. I want to begin here. I'm getting my hair cut last week, and my stylist, she likes to take her time. So every time it's like 45 minutes. I'm like, my God, this is taking forever. Anyway, she's a nice woman, and we get along quite well. She had on, randomly that night, she had on the UFC channel, and there was a collage of Derek Lewis fights, right, in his career. And it was one right after another. And every single time before the fight would start, they would put up the odds, and he's a massive dog for the most part. And he just would knock the daylights out of the opponent. I'm like, oh my God, he's fighting coming up next week. I got to bet this guy's a huge dog again. And then you look at the overall record. Well, hold on a second. He's 3-4 in his last 7 fights, and he hasn't fought in a while. But I can't get that loop of fights out of my head. Is that a mistake as I approach it from a betting standpoint?
Not at all. In fact, Mitch, he's on the main event because he is the all-time KO king in the UFC history. So he's the guy with the power in his hands, and that never leaves, even a 40-year-old heavyweight, which is what Derek Lewis is. I'll also say this. If Derek Lewis was so serious about being a contender, he's now 40. When he was 35, he should have weighed 260, 261, but he always come in at 266, 1 pound over the limit. Today, 261. So 40, he's serious. He's at the end of his wick. He knows he needs to keep making a living. I think we're going to get the best version of the beast that we've seen in some time. The issue is he's fighting a kid that's 15 years younger, 5 inches taller, longer, and a finisher himself. Now, this young, tall Brazilian that he's fighting, Teixeira, has never been into the third round. He's extremely inexperienced, and I think a good, ferocious body attack by the beast could really soften this kid up. And I lean to Derek Lewis a little bit. I really like the fight to start round 2, and that's obviously a prop that you can get anywhere outside of Nevada. In Nevada, you have to go over the 1.5. I still lean that way. I think these two guys are going to be competitive for a while. Lewis is the one that has championship experience, that's been into the 3rd or 4th round. Not that this fight's getting there, but I do think it'll take a little while for one guy to finish the other. And I think Derek Lewis is a decent bet here.
You like Charrier a lot, too, and you don't lay this because he's minus 250. But would you want to tie those two together in a parlay and shoot for the stars?
Yeah, we used Charrier. Actually, we used Charrier straight up in this card, and that's unusual. I usually take a favorite like that, and I will parlay him, Paul. But in this case, I like him straight. He fights this guy, Nate the Train Landwehr, who is really the epitome of blood and guts for a UFC fighter. He fights out of Clarksville, Tennessee, so the crowd will be his. But he's 37, 4 years older, slower, all will, might, power. But the other kid from France, Charrier, is all quickness, athleticism, and deft striking. If Charrier can get this thing into the 2nd round, I think Nate slows down so bad, and if you sneeze on him, you put 5 stitches on his cheek. It'll be a bloody mess. This fight card will be as violent as any fight card in 2025.
All right, good sell job. All right, sit back. Here comes the news. I believe in all the years we've talked to you and interviewed you, this is the biggest dog you've ever released on the program. So Murphy's fighting, and the over is minus 280 over 2.5 rounds. So it looks like we're going the distance. Murphy plus 450 and Murphy plus the points. What's the breakdown here? Can't wait.
The breakdown here is that Murphy's 41. She hasn't fought in 2.5 years. And so everyone's looking at this real young Brazilian fighter. Oh, Brazilian fighter, just 2-1 in the UFC, albeit her last fight was a good win. But she's inexperienced and she's earning her way. She steps up big time with Lauren Murphy. Now, most of the analytics people are going to say, oh, she's 41. She's already talking about retirement because this is her last fight. She's acknowledged that. But it's her last fight because she fought so poorly in her last fight against Andrade. Lauren Murphy is a junkyard dog. She's not coming back here to embarrass herself. I believe that 2.5 rounds over is the right call in a highly competitive fight. I'm going to take Lauren Murphy because of who she's been in with, her legitimate, mean junkyard dog disposition, and the fact she's coming back to get business settled, not to ride off into the sunset. I really like Murphy here straight. I also like Murphy on the points handicap plus 3.5 points plus 140. Boy, that's one that I'd really have people do what they can do to find.
Very good.
Okay.
Gotta help you cash that one. Absolutely. How about another dog? Not as big, but still. Tokos plus 140 in that range.
This is a half-unit bet for an earlier fight on the fight card. Tokos is the legitimate 205-pound fighter, longer, taller, been fighting in the division. He takes on Junior Tafa, who just got beat up in the heavyweight division. This is Tafa's first fight at 205. He made the weight okay, but his last fight 6-7 months ago was 241. I believe Tafa's had a trouble fighting that weight cut. He's done so much to get to this point. I don't know if he's going to have much left for this Tokos, who not only is a striker, but has wrestling also. And that's the difference between the two. Tokos is a well-rounded mixed martial artist, and Tafa's just a slugger.
All right, one more. Give me Jake Matthews plus 140. How do you see this fight?
Chidi and Njokuani missed weight today. It's the second time he's missed weight at 170. He can't fight at 85 because the guys are too big and strong, and he can't make weight at 70. I believe Chidi fought hard to make weight, didn't do it, and that's just the recipe that Matthews needs because Matthews is durable and he is tough. He isn't really excellent at anything, but if he takes this fight into the second round, I think he holds great advantage over Chidi, who usually runs out of gas, let alone after struggling so hard with a weight cut. Matthews plus 135.
Very good. Do you have a best bet? I know you mentioned the 1/2 unit play that you have, but of all the other ones that you brought up, are they all like equal size, or is there one that you really, really like?
Yeah, I like them all the same.
Okay.
They're like my children, Mitch, but I like Murphy a good deal this week.
You don't have a favorite child? Come on. I find that hard to believe.
No, sir.
Just joking. Okay, NFL. You have been amazing with us the last couple of years with win totals, and we'll get more of these as the summer progresses and you do a little bit more diving into the numbers and everything like that. But you want to share one that you like already, and it's with the Dallas Cowboys. How do you want to attack their win total?
I want to take it under. Listen, Dallas is a team that is going to be benefited by a +5 in the net rest in their schedule, which is 7th best in the NFL. But really, that's very much front-loaded. A traditional strength, their line is now ranked 16th, and it's been waning the last few years. You add a little bit of Dak inconsistency and the fact that he's been hurt. Listen, last year, first 9 weeks with Dak, okay? Yards per completion, 30th in the NFL. EPA for rushing, 23rd in the NFL. 20th in rushing success, 27 yards post, or 2.7 yards post-contract, 27th in yards after contact, 31 explosive rate. You get the gist. This Dallas Cowboy team is really lacking talent. And now when I go on to the defensive side or their concerns, besides Dak and injuries, How about their first coordinators, first year offensive, first year defensive, first year head coach? That always takes a little time. Yes, we understand that Schottenheimer was with them last year, but that's still a new coach. The running backs are ranked 32nd in the NFL. Their defensive backs 27th in the NFL. I really think that the Cowboys weeks 11 to 13 play 3 games in 10 days. Only one in the schedule that does it. And then the next week they play Minnesota, making it 4 and 17. Philly, Kansas City, Detroit, and Minnesota in those last weeks, all with short rest. Dallas will start out gangbusters, but they won't win 8 games this year. I think this is a combustible Dallas team, and it's going to implode early.
Very good. Would you dabble in any alternate win total markets with them as well? Would you look to play like under 7.5 or maybe even under like 7?
I'd go as far as to tell you that at 20-1, they're not a bad choice for the worst team in the NFL.
Holy smokes. Wow. Now we're talking that bad, you think, huh? Potentially.
I think it's going to be really bad in Dallas. I just don't see what they got there that's going to make them competitive, especially when you look at not only their division, but the last half of their schedule.
Yeah. You think they could finish in last place, obviously, with that remark, then, in their own division behind the Giants, potentially?
I think that's entirely possible.
Wow.
I really do. I just don't. I mean, what makes us have any confidence in Dallas that they got one great wide receiver and they just overhauled the wide receiver room?
A good point.
Who's the tight end? What about the waning line? And where's the defense and the toughness on the defense? That front seven got run all over last year. I just think Jerry's saving money, but he isn't bringing a winner to the folks in Big D.
Follow him on X at GamLou. Read his write-ups every week at VSiN.com. Thanks, Uncle Lou. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks for having me, guys. Great show. I'm watching the rest.
Thank you. NFL Power Ratings next. Where do we agree or disagree? We'll discuss coming up here on VSiN.
Finding ways to be financially savvy is a smart move, and knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream home or new ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More football futures with Pro Bettor Chris Macero coming up at the bottom of the hour. Here we'll go NFL power ratings that are available. Steve Makinen here at the network shares his power ratings on every sport that he covers and runs numbers for, but specifically the NFL throughout the entire season. They're in the VSiN guide as well, the Pro Football Betting Guide, which is out now. You can go get it at VSiN.com/subscribe. And Pauly, Philadelphia is his number 1 power rated team in the entire league. I think we could probably agree with that, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so overall, he gives them a number of 30, and people do power ratings differently, and they come up with different numbers. But right now, going into the season, Eagles are number 1. He has them a half a point better than Baltimore, and then a full point better than Buffalo and Kansas City. But Baltimore, per his numbers, a half a point better than both Buffalo and KC. And I think that kind of bears out week 1. Baltimore's playing at Buffalo, and the Bills are laying 1.5 at home. Total's 52.
Great game.
A phenomenal way to start the season.
And then the Ravens, outplayed them, just silly turnovers, and then Andrews drops the 2-point conversion right in his lap. So I agree with his top 3.
Now, I think that Buffalo will have a better year and a better record, but I think Baltimore's a better team. And I'm saying that because of if you switch divisions, the Ravens would be the team that I'd focus on with like cross-sport parlays and other futures.
And then you're looking at it from a regular season standpoint. Buffalo always beats Kansas City regular season. Can't beat them when it counts. Baltimore's great in the regular season, and then they just beat themselves come playoff time. I think Detroit's too high, and I think Green Bay's a little too high, along with Washington. He goes Detroit, Green Bay, Washington with his rankings then. Yeah,
Washington to me is the one team that definitely sticks out there that would be a little bit too high. I would have them lower than that. Great story last year. Daniels is the real deal. but I would expect a little bit of regression, obviously, in year number 2. And they had unbelievable numbers converting fourth downs last year. Now, and I remember saying this throughout the season a year ago, like late in the year, that can be a thing for a full year. I don't think that can be a thing back-to-back years. That's much like teams that are like 11-2 in one-score games. That usually comes back to the pack the next year, or the turnover margin. Like if you're plus 24 in turnovers one year, that's probably not going to repeat itself the following season. So I'll give you this. And I did this last year, and I've done it in previous years. I'll do it again this year. I will make like my own composite rankings of unit grades. And Mike Clay does an amazing job. He shares everything on ESPN.com. Warren Sharp, it's in his book. I got his book. Warren was on with Humans and Tim Murray earlier this week. It was awesome. And I will also look at Pro Football Focus, and I'll kind of combine the three of them. Mike Clay at ESPN, again, grades every single unit, quarterback, running back, you get the point. He has, when it grades all out, does the math on it, Detroit's his number 1 team. Unit by unit overall. Baltimore's number 2, Philly's number 3, Buffalo is number 4, and they're tied actually with Kansas City. Mike Clay's unit grades have Minnesota as the 6th best team in the NFL. And Steve Makinen's power ratings has Minnesota like middle of the pack. I'm super high on Minnesota this year. I don't think McCarthy's going to be an issue. I mean, when we had Paul Charchian on, who lived his entire life in Minneapolis covering the team and the NFL on KFan there, the flagship for the Vikings, he just looked at me and kind of was like, on the air, because said, Mitch, the McCarthy injury is not a story. Unless he gets like injured again, which could happen. But the lingering injury from his like Michigan days or post-draft, it's nothing to worry about. So I'm with you. I think Green Bay might be a little bit high as well.
He doesn't have the 49ers in the top 10.
Yeah. He has them as the same rating as the Chargers and a half a point behind the Buccaneers. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Tampa Bay, a lot of love, and he's buying Arizona as well. He's got Arizona right there with Houston.
Yep.
And a little bit down on Denver. But, a lot of these teams are close. But
well, his numbers, again. Yep. So Steve Mackin, again, VSiN.com, his power rating is exactly the same for Arizona, Denver, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and Miami. He must be very high on, I guess, a healthy Tua overall. Yeah. Achane, Tua, along with Tyreek Hill. I can't get there with Miami. Same power rating as Minnesota, Denver, and Arizona? Not to me.
Yeah.
How about the bottom?
Well, I agree with the bottom. I think the Saints are going to be the worst team in the league.
Okay.
And he's got New Orleans at the bottom, and I love their win total under, and 5-1 to have the worst record in all of football. He goes New Orleans, Tennessee, Cleveland. 3 worst teams. Jets, oh boy, the 2 New York teams right above them as well.
Sure.
I just think it's going to be ugly with Giants. Not a lot of talent, more so than the Jets, though, but based on how bad the Giants' schedule is, how difficult it is, and I don't know what the Jets are going to do offensively.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I mean, you just all this talk about what these guys make, and you just gave, Fields 2 for 28? He couldn't beat Uncle Rico in a jugs contest. I mean, that's horrendous. He can't throw the ball. But and a new coach with Glenn as well, and then we know what's going on in Cleveland. Although I think they have a chance, though, if it's going to be Flacco. How long, I don't know, but he proved it 2 years ago when they shocked the world, and he was comeback player of the year. Tennessee's the unknown with Ward, where you just don't know what he's going to do with coming in as a new quarterback with a rookie.
I will say this, again, looking at Mike Clay's numbers, he has the Saints going unit by unit ahead of several teams in the league. Ahead of the Jets, Panthers, Jags, Raiders, Giants, Titans, and Browns. Makinen has the same power rating number for the Raiders that he does for Carolina, a half a point behind Jacksonville, and a half a point behind the Colts, and barely above the Giants or the Jets. I think that's a little bit too low with the Raiders here. I mean, you're telling me right now, Pauly, that if the Raiders played the Jets on a neutral and the Raiders were a 1-point favorite, you wouldn't pound the daylights out of that number?
Yeah.
Or if they were I'll give you a better one. If they were a half a point against the Giants on a neutral, you're not going to bet the Raiders?
Yeah, I like the Raiders week 1 against the Patriots. I think the Patriot hype is outrageous.
Oh, and he's got him only 1 point better. Yeah. And by the way, like these week 1 home fields and stuff like that, I don't think you can bake much into it, obviously, because what's the travel spot? It's week 1. So Are you going to give New England that big of a home field advantage over the Raiders in that game? I think that's too much.
Yeah. They did the same thing, too, with Mac Jones. Always unbelievable, Rookie of the Year conversation. And then some of it was coaching. They couldn't help him, but he was terrible, what happened. And it was like a fluke, his rookie season. I'm not saying Drake May's going to be that, but they've also certainly been early to crown the kid, much like they did with Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll be good. Maybe he'll be a guy playing in the league 10, 15 years. But I don't know. I think the New England hype is ridiculous.
What's going to happen if either the Ravens or the Bills win in blowout fashion in week 1 to their power rating? The winning team's power rating. Remember a couple years ago to begin the season, Buffalo went to the Rams. The Rams were the defending champs, and they absolutely obliterated them. What was it, like 41-17, something like that? What if Buffalo just annihilates Baltimore, and it's like not a fluke, or vice versa, either way? Then the winning team there in a blowout would automatically ascend to everybody's number 1 power rating, and I think rightfully so. The Lions at the Packers in week 1, Green Bay's 1.5, and the total is 49.5. Campbell has done a great job against Green Bay for the most part during his time there in Detroit. Did you see that? It came out, I think, on one of these shows recently. I don't know if it was like a follow-up like on Amazon or whatever it was. He told the team before, I think it was one of the Green Bay games, we are going for it every bleeping time before the game. Basically, I don't care, fellas. Get ready to go to war because we're going for it on every single 4th down that we have. And he doesn't care. It's a little reckless at times.
Yep. Oh, can backfire. That's right.
Sure it can. Especially when he does it like, the fake punt crap inside his own territory. Drives me insane.
They have a lot of talent. Are they the 6th best team in the NFL? Maybe, but certainly Green Bay beat themselves in that playoff loss to Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
Also with all the injuries that happened.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of the Niners laying 1.5 at Seattle in week 1?
They've had no problems winning in there. Not going back, especially regular season. I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, they're going to have a full off-season to get ready for Sam Darnold?
Yep. That's a good call.
Yeah, I think that number, I think I'm going to be betting that now before it potentially moves up. And I don't know if it touches 3 or not, but goes higher than what it is.
$500 try from GBank First Bet and VSiN. Open a GBank Visa Signature credit card. In the first 90 days, deposit and play through $1,000 at First Bet to trigger the $500 trifecta. You get $200 in cashback rewards on your GBank Visa Signature credit card, and First Bet will give you a $100 deposit match. We complete it with a free 6-month subscription. That's the $500 try from GBank First Bet and VSiN. Visit VSiN.com/GBank. Head there now. It's limited to customers opening a new account in response to this offer. Apply today. Terms and conditions apply. Get that trifecta.
We just got tagged on a tweet at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Pauly Howard. Somebody at DraftKings, was this yesterday? $100, 18-leg parlay, paid $424,000. It's that easy, Pauly.
What, he mix and match on everything?
It looks like it was WNBA. He had some run lines in there, a lot of baseball games the way it looks. And DK sent it out from the Sportsbook Twitter account. So,
oh, my God.
Yeah, $100 into $424,000. Wow. Professional sports bettor Chris Macero on the program coming up next. We'll go over his favorite football futures and legs that he likes to use for cross-sport parlays on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Professional sports bettor Chris Macero joins the program. He is live in studio in town betting horses. And how about this, Pauly? We're taking his afternoon away from him. What, you're betting horses at Saratoga?
Yeah, I am alive though in the late pick 5, and we had a nice price in the second leg. There was a 14-1 horse, but it was only a 6 or 7 horse field, and every other horse was 7-2 or less. So it's going to pay a lot bigger in the pick 5. So
Okay,
we'll see what happens. You know, I got 2 legs left. I'm not worrying about it. I'm worrying about the show right now. I'm excited.
Okay, you got a lot. Okay, let's remind people here. You've been on the show several times and on the network several times as well. You came on before the Super Bowl, and you said, look, this is what I'm going to do. You love the Eagles. You love their team total on an alt number to go over, and that was one of the legs that you were going to give out. And then you were talking about some teams to win the national title in college basketball. Florida was one of them. And then another key leg here was going to be Oklahoma City to win the West, right?
Correct.
So that one specific parlay did hit, and you hit it for $60,000.
Yeah, full disclosure, I did bet multiple teams in college basketball, but based on my system and how I figure out who I think is going to win the college basketball tournament, and the system has been pretty solid, and everyone knows the Ken Palm ratings and things along those lines, but having veteran players, guards, certain coaches, and this little combination of pot that I put together, I've been able to hit the college basketball winner like 7 out of the last 8 years. But this was before the cross-sport parlay thing, came to fruition, and Circa and DraftKings and FanDuel and allowing you to do this type of stuff. So I just thought on that day, I really liked the Eagles. I really thought they were going to kill the Chiefs, and I thought it was time for someone to surpass Mahomes, great as he is. I just thought that was just an opportunity where I really didn't see the Chiefs stopping Philly. And I didn't think they'd score that many points because you couldn't even get more. That was the second. There was one other higher alt you could have gotten, but that was the second highest one, and it went over no problem. And now you're sitting pretty good. And we had Duke, Houston, Florida, Maryland, and there was one other one. There was 5 of them that I gave out. And then we had a little stress with OKC, but the OKC factor was they were always going to be the favorite the whole way, even to win the West. And you could obviously hedge. So I came on Humans and Tim's show, and I did hedge back. I probably lost about $10,000 in the process on the way, but I still made about a $50,000 profit.
Very
on
good.
That bet.
Okay, so now people want to do this for football coming up, obviously, right? And you can take this any direction you want, but what do you have in terms of like favorite legs or favorite futures that you've keyed on right now? It could be a team to win a conference in college football. It could be a team to get the 1 seed in the NFL. What are you attacking at this point?
Well, what happened was the last month I was back east, so I was available to have access to DraftKings at my beck and call the whole time. So what I was doing was, when I'm betting regularly, if I'm betting a game, like just for example, last night the Yankees game, and you saw Portnoy complaining about, oh my God, I had Seattle, I had so much money on it. Well, you had so much money on it, but in the 8th inning, Seattle was plus 1,800 in the game. So I'm not saying, I mean, a guy like that who bets 20,000, 50,000, whatever he bets per game, I'm not saying you're going to put, $100 on it. He might put more, but if I'm betting $500 on the Seattle Mariners and they're up 5-0, people can say this is dumb or not, but I do this all the time, and it alleviates the bad beat. You put $50 or whatever amount you're comfortable with on a live side against you, and then you add it to a future parlay that you like. So I had Sam Burns a few weeks ago, probably like 6 weeks ago. We're up at Saratoga. He had the lead. He was going to win. He was going to win the playoff, but Ryan Fox stole it from him. So what I did the whole time, because I had a ticket like $150 to make $4,500 on Sam Burns, I was betting Ryan Fox in-game parlays the whole time. And I was tying him to Clemson, Alabama, Yankees division, because I have a Red Sox ticket for division, and I'm not sold on Tampa or Toronto. So that's what I do. So what ends up happening is over time, you might have a bad beat on your daily bet, but you know what? You're getting crazy plus money on parlays to teams that you're going to be betting anyways for the future. So I started my college football handicapping this year with 2 teams I really liked from big-time conferences, big-time programs at double-digit odds that I think are definitely going to make the playoffs, and that's Alabama and Clemson. The question with Alabama is the quarterback, is he legit? Ty Simpson, we don't know. Friend of mine was at the Manning passing camp. He said he was solid. He wasn't one of the top 5 guys there, but he was solid. There was no big question mark with him. So I'm on Alabama, and I've built a bunch of parlays up already. So I'm close to 6 figures on Alabama, closing to them. Not as much on Clemson so far. Another team brings back everyone. No question at quarterback. Receivers are lights out. They have the second best ranked offensive line and defensive line in Phil Steele's book. Their question is the defensive backfield. They're very weak in the defensive backfield, so that scares me a little bit. But receivers, running backs, offensive line, defensive line, quarterback. I know you guys aren't big Dabo fans, but playing in the ACC, this is just this is an SEC team playing in the ACC. There are some other good ACC teams, but this team stands heads and shoulders above the rest.
You would think you'd be higher on Clemson than Bama, though, right? Because of the conference, though.
Yes and no, but I feel that Alabama, if you look at their schedule, they're going to be favored in every game except one. The one game is at Georgia. I don't think they're going to keep Alabama out of the playoff again. And Alabama has more chances to mess up and get back in than Clemson does. Granted, Clemson has an easier path to the championship game. I like both teams. I liked how Clemson was playing at the end of last year. I thought Klubnik grew up in the playoff.
Yep.
You know, the Texas game, they had him. So I'm big proponents of both teams. So those are the two teams I started with, and then we can kind of roll into what else I'm doing, looking for value, where I could have those two teams hopefully at 6 figures each going into the playoff.
They're your anchors, basically.
They're my anchors.
Okay.
And then, I'll spend, a few thousand on other teams so that I can go in and try to make a $50,000 profit on, the college football playoff.
Did it last year with Boise.
Boise
you had a
was
huge ticket on Boise, and if they win that first game.
Yeah. I had Boise. I also, the biggest ticket I had, unfortunately, they didn't make the playoff because they lost to Florida in the last game was
I would have crushed. Oh my God!
Ole Miss.
Don't remind me.
I had 125,000 closing Ole Miss on very little bets. It was just future parlays, big odds that came through, and they were kind of big odds to start the season. I mean, what a loaded team! I mean, they got Dart was a high pick to the Giants. Receivers getting drafted. They had the defensive lineman that got drafted high. They had a loaded team. Kiffin, he makes some questionable decisions, and they just had the Dart had a really bad day that day. So I wasn't really able to hedge that ticket. I probably should have had a little bit more on Florida that day.
Okay, and you were saying before the break, because Pauly asked you about Alabama before we came on the air, and you're like, oh my God, if they had a proven quarterback that people knew, you said they'd be easily the number 1 team in the country?
I think they would. I just, we can segue a little bit. I'll go back to my other teams that I like for the championship. But I'm super high on Ryan Williams for Heisman. I bet him at 40-1 at a couple places. It's down to 35-1 here. I mean, he's a human highlight reel. As a freshman who should have still been in high school last year, was making the most ridiculous, like Fred Biletnikoff type plays in the biggest games. And I think Jalen Milroe was kind of a detriment to his production. He only had 48 catches, 835 yards. He had 8 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns rushing. So I think with the new offensive coordinator, the old offensive coordinator that DeBoer had at Washington coming in, Grubbs, that this offense is going to really take off. And I think he's going to be the focal point of the offense. And I don't think there's a more electric player in the country. And at 40-1, if things go well, I think the brand recognition, the name recognition he had from last year, he's more likely to win the Heisman than Ty Simpson would. And at 40-1, I think it's a really solid bet. He's going to be on TV every week. He's going to be making spectacular plays. I'm very high on Ryan Williams.
How about some long shots then that you like?
Do you want to go long shots for the teams?
Both.
Or the?
Go ahead.
Okay.
You can go rapid fire here.
Yeah, we'll just go rapid fire for the Heisman. So, and this isn't a real huge long shot, but I do like John Mateer at Oklahoma. He's coming in with his OC from Wazoo, Ben Arbuckle. Oklahoma.
Phil Steele loves Oklahoma.
Yeah. So do I. Oklahoma has no problems on defense. The problems are on offense, and you're bringing in a electric quarterback, 65% completion percentage, huge touchdown to interception ratio. Some other long shots. You got Miller Moss at Louisville, electric offense. Amazing running back, Isaac Brown, huge freshman year. They get 2 stud receivers coming in transfer. They get a full slate of offensive linemen. Their question is defense is going to be a lot of high-scoring games, probably 37 to 40 points a game they're going to be averaging. So Miller Moss, we all saw what he did at USC. Some other big-time long shots. Darian Mensah at Duke was a terrific freshman at Tulane. He's 200-1 down at Westgate. Mekhi Hughes, also from Tulane. He got shipped up to Oregon. He's going to be the lead back for the Ducks. He's also 200-1. Some really long bombers. Our old friend Diego Pavia, he's 300-1. Name recognition. They have a lot back. Not many receivers, but an awesome tight end who's all world, one of the best in the country. And a crazy one I threw in just for my dad because he was in the Navy. So Blake Horvath, 500-1. I just threw a little pizza money on that because, hey, they got an easy schedule early. And they got a great offense. They got a bunch of returning guys, and when those quarterbacks return after multiple years, the option teams are really do well.
There you go. Not afraid to tie up money for the football season.
Let's go.
Absolutely not. There you go. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Chris Macero. That was a Gatling gun, as always, which is awesome. He's in studio. Another segment here. We'll get into the NFL as well. We went over power ratings in the previous segment. Let's just say that Philadelphia is not your number 1 team. You're very strong on somebody. He'll tell you who that is coming up next here on VSiN.
Having the right people in your corner for life's biggest milestones makes all the difference. Like a friend who's there when you're house hunting or checking out a new ride, State Farm is there too, helping you choose the coverage you need. With a State Farm agent, you know someone is there to help you along the way. And with so many coverage options, it's nice knowing you have help choosing a plan that fits your needs, so you can continue celebrating all of life's milestones. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
With NFL in a minute, professional sports bettor Chris Macero is with us in studio. He ran down a lot of his bets, who he's high on in college football in the previous segment. We did not finish everything, though, there in college. You wanted to talk about some more teams that you bets on?
Yeah, I just want to give you an example of how I kind of find some value and hope that one or two of these teams finds a way into the playoff at huge odds, and I think there's some possibilities. Let's go with Oklahoma first. I remember many Saturdays last year, you guys talking, Tim Murray talking, how depleted this offensive line was. They lost all 5 starters at one game or another. They had 13 or so different combinations at offensive line. They had all 5 of their top 5 receivers out at some point through the season, and 3 of them missed the whole year. This defense was absolutely elite. I saw a stat in Phil Steele's book that said that they limited opposing teams on average to 87 yards below what they would usually produce. And in the SEC, that is a ridiculous number. This defense is going to be stout. The biggest problem was obviously the offense. They couldn't get anything going, a lot of it due to injuries. But now bring in Mateer, bring in Ben Arbuckle from Washington State, a combo pack, and you're getting all these receivers back. The line is, they brought in 2 transfers from Stanford, so they have a combined 111 starts on the offensive line compared to a team last year that was decimated, had no returning starts. So very high in Oklahoma. You can get them at 100-1. Different shops, shop around. It's weird. They had 60-1 at Circa, and Mateer was 30-1 here, but Westgate had 100-1 at Oklahoma, and Mateer was only 18-1. So you got to shop around. It's part of the job. Louisville, another team. This team is getting Miller Moss, like I was mentioning earlier, electric backfield, electric receivers. You got the Brom father-son combo, coach and offensive coordinator. This team scored ridiculous points last year with Tyler Shugg, and now we're just replacing him with Miller Moss. And I think Moss is just as good, if not better than him. If he can come back to where he was at USC a couple years ago, sky's the limit for this offense. And if they can navigate Eli Holstein on September 27th at Pittsburgh, which will be a tough game, no doubt about it, but they could be looking at 5-0, heading down to Miami off a bye week on a Friday night. If you go into Miami and beat them, we're not sure how good Carson Beck is or what's going on with this Miami team. No one likes to coach.
Yep.
You could be looking at 6-0. Yeah, there's some tough games down the road, but hey, maybe they make a shot at it with this offense. We'll see. The last team I'll mention, actually,
Clemson, SMU, back-to-back.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But hey, if you got a good team and you're rolling, it could be. You never know. That's why it's 100-1.
That's ridiculous. They did that too.
I'll give you 2 more deep long shots. Baylor, 300-1. This team is coming off an injury-riddled first half of the year. They rolled off 5 in a row or 6 in a row at the end of the season. Sawyer Robinson, electric new quarterback they got running there. And everyone likes Aranda. He's a good coach. They've had a lot of trouble with injuries. The Big 12 is wide open. Baylor starts the season at home against Auburn.
Yeah.
And, it's a tough game, but it's not a conference game. And then they go to SMU, also not a conference game. They have the majority of their tough games at home in conference. I really think this team is going to be really solid due to the fact they're returning 18 starters, 10 on offense. And the quarterback is key. He completed 62% of his passes last year. Just a real team leader. I like Aranda as a coach. 300-1. They sneak into the playoff. You're monetizing that ticket. Last one real quick. I mentioned Mensah at Duke. I got Duke earlier this year at 1,000-1 to win the national championship. Probably not going to happen. But this team is super deep on defense. Loaded secondary and linebackers, senior-laden guys. And I think Mensah is just going to uplift this offense so much that there's a chance that they can go to Clemson and win that game. You never know. It's a team that I have high hopes for them. I really like the coach, Manny Diaz. He's got that defense humming every year, and I'm just super high on Darian Mensah. Really solid freshman year. pretty much walked on to Tulane. He was a 4th-string quarterback and won the job. Almost beat Kansas State in week 2. So
should have.
High on Duke and high on Darian Mensah. Those are just some long shot plays I'm looking at.
All right, very good. You had Washington every which way but loose last year in the NFL. What do you think of the Commanders this year?
Everyone's saying there's going to be regression. It's a sophomore jinx. There's not going to be a sophomore jinx with Jaden Daniels. I'm not sure if you probably have heard about it. Maybe all the listeners haven't, but Jaden Daniels runs through film at 1.75 on virtual reality. The guy does not make mistakes. He's super cool as a cucumber. He knows when to duck out of bounds, when to change the play. And I heard you guys talking about going for it on 4th down, and it wasn't a usually high rate of success. I think it was 11 for 13, but they only went for it 13 times during the regular season. And I think with the guy, the head on his shoulders and the ability to move and the rocket arm, and the fact that they picked up Laramie Tunsil, one of the best tackles in NFL football. Say what you want about Deebo Samuel. Maybe he's a little overweight. Maybe he's all done. He's a veteran star. He's been on championship-style teams. I just think this team, they got to sign McLaurin, but I'm super high on them. I think they're gonna win the division over Philadelphia. Wow. I think Philadelphia. Granted, they won the Super Bowl. You play extra games. They lost a lot on defense. Sweat leaves. A lot of other guys, a couple secondary guys are gone. They did draft well. They draft a lot of defense. I get it. That they have a great machine running there. The GM, the coach, quarterback, all on the same page. I just think Washington. I just think they have a chance to beat them. I'm not going to be on Philly on many futures. The 3 teams I like the most in the NFC are Washington, the Rams, and San Francisco due to the schedule.
Yes.
I'm going to let Minnesota beat me. I think Detroit lost 2 coordinators in their center. And this year, remember last year, Mitch, we talked about this. Let's go for Goff for MVP. Let's go for Goff for over his touchdowns. Why? Because they only played two games outdoors.
That's right.
This year, which is incredible, because they play half the games at home, they play 7 road games outdoors. So that's going to have an effect. Goff is not the same guy outside as inside. So the 3 teams I like the most, Rams, San Fran due to the schedule, and Washington for the NFC.
Okay, but your number 1 team in the entire NFL comes out of the AFC, and it's Baltimore.
100%. Baltimore pretty much could have, if you go back and look through their schedule last year, they should have gone undefeated. They lost to the Raiders at home as 10-point favorites. They lost to the Browns somehow. And then you were mentioning before the last segment how, Andrews drops the ball, which is, the most sure-handed guy, and he they would have won that game. So I just feel like Lamar Jackson has just got better. I was not the biggest Lamar Jackson fan, but every year he keeps getting better and better. 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. You know what he can do with his legs. You got Henry. The defense, they drafted so well for the defense again. Harbaugh's going to step up his game a little bit. He's been a little shaky lately as a coach, but I really think the Baltimore Ravens, they have a tough schedule early, but I really think they're the number 1 team, and I have them. I played here at Circa Ravens over Commanders. I'm going to be playing a few more Super Bowl exactas with the Ravens, but I played Ravens over Commanders 72-1 at Circa on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, I played Ravens over Rams, because I have the Rams big, right, to win the whole thing. I played Ravens over Rams at 90-1.
Awesome. I like it too. Circa has some really good ones both ways, but if you shop around, some like DraftKings has some better other ways. So might be making the drive out to Arizona. I heard you talk about your Super Bowl ticket with the Rams. I think on the same day, I think we might have been like hanging out or something because we were watching the NCAA tournament. When they were thinking about getting Adams, the rumors broke. Yeah. I grabbed them for NFC at plus 1650. So,
damn.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that than 30-1, honestly, to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So
that's a great number.
Yeah, lucky for that one.
Good job. Edge Boost, the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Sean D was talking about it when he was in. Loves it. Card never declined. Get paid for what you love doing, which is betting. Don't wait on that wire and those outrageous fees if you go over your limit. 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet, code FTM. Edgeboost.bet, code FTM. Deposit 25. Edge Boost will match it. Edgeboost.bet.
Pauly and I are going to get to the baseball card coming up at the top of the hour. You love betting baseball as well. Do you like anything tonight?
Well, I've been on the Red Sox 7 days in a row, so I did a show this morning, and someone was asking me the handicap on the Red Sox game. I go, "There's no handicap. You just bet the Red Sox." Just right now, they just been on a good run. So I've been on them 7 days in a row. I'm going to be on them tonight. There's some teams though that you can look to fade that I think are just trying to get to the All-Star break. And Paul Skeens is pitching tonight, but I think Pittsburgh seems like dead in the water. Rockies seem dead in the water. Yeah. Washington seems dead in the water. The Braves, some tough travel spots. Braves and Texas flying back from the West Coast to the middle of the country. So. Can I ask you one question?
Go ahead.
Because I know Pauly always does the door number 1, door number 2.
We got like 45 seconds.
Yeah, we'll fit it in. Huh? Door number 1, you have to share a survivor pick with Paul Howard.
Okay.
All the decisions for the year. Or door number 2, you got to eat Matt Human's diet for a month.
Holy Christ. Oh, my God.
That's 5 times a day.
Oh, I actually think I would lean. This is going to kill me. I'd lean actually take teaming with him
for the whole year.
I would have to do it. I could not eat like that for a month.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it for a month.
It's not an option.
I could. What would you do?
I don't know, but he'd be going crazy, changing the pick.
Oh my! It would be a suicide mission with this guy. But I'd take that over Human's diet for a month. There's no way. That's a great question, though.
That was from my buddy Kevin. He goes, "You got to sneak that one in."
Finding ways to be financially savvy is a smart move, and knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream home or new ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.